this is big for me now. This one, Distributed Bio, featured in the hit series, are working on Centivax. I know we've got a vaccine, or we're working on a vaccine from Oxford. It's basically working with therapeutic monoclonal antibodies that maybe could probably neutralise COVID-19 within 20 minutes. So we've got a vaccine, or they're working on the vaccine. They're doing the trials.
Well, so human trials on the vaccine start next Thursday, I think it is.
I thought they started tomorrow. Okay, you might be right. Next Thursday.
Tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow.
I think tomorrow, and within, I think, but if they haven't basically had a really severe reaction to it, I think 6 people are going to get it Saturday, and then it's just going to expand out. And they're looking for volunteers, by the way, in the Thames Valley area. So if you want to
absolutely
volunteer yourself, then off you go. You know where to go. You know where to look.
Absolutely, and anyone that is willing to do that, the nation will forever be grateful for you putting yourselves forward. So the trials are starting on that vaccine. I don't know whether it is the distributed bio product.
It's not distributed bio.
I know the government is very focused in terms of what they've said this week around the vaccine. The trials are starting on now. From the digging I've done, I still can't give you a definitive answer over whether Distributed Bio are engaged with the UK government on this or not. And it doesn't surprise me, because actually often within anything any government does, commercial relationships aren't disclosed until you've got to the point where you have actually got something to announce.
Yeah. I did actually think yesterday they were going to say something. So I was a bit like,
yeah. So if what Distributed Bio say they can do, I'm sure not just the British government, but probably governments all around the globe are talking to them. What I can't do is give any categoric assurance.
I don't think they are, because Distributed Bio is not part of a major pharmaceutical outfit. It's a gentleman with obviously other scientists clubbed together and created Distributed Bio. And then, I mean, he has been approached with funding from people with capital for their portion of the business, and he hasn't taken the venture capitalists on because he doesn't agree with it, because they want to push up the price. I mean, his idea of his so-called vaccine is $100, where if you buy your vaccine from a commercial or pharmaceutical business, it's going to be like $600 to $800. So he's looking at, or actually the company as a whole, to be fair, the way they look at it is making vaccines available for everyone. Now, because they work on an antibody, what that is that it will only last 8 to 10 weeks. But what that will do is they're looking to cover the whole range of the influenza, whether it's swine, Ebola, normal influenza, and COVID. That's what they're looking at. Now, where we're looking at a vaccine, I mean, even when you take this, I mean, they told it today, I'm quite surprised they said it. When you do a vaccine, you've basically got to stay out of harm's way for 8 weeks, else you're going to have like double the dose of whatever you've been trying to be vaccinated about. You won't not clear for about 8 weeks. But with an antibody, the way that they do it, the therapeutic way of doing it is, I wish he was on so we could ask him. He'll be able to explain it really easy. What that does is within 20 minutes it will start to work against the actual virus itself, and obviously you'll start to be alleviated of symptoms. So where you can use this is actually, doctors, hospitals can have this. I'm calling it a vaccine. They don't call it a vaccine, but let's just say this vaccine. They will have that, so that as soon as I could come in and say I'm not feeling too good. I feel run down. Got a bit of a cough. You do your little antibody test. Yes, you've got COVID. At the moment I think it's an IV they use. It's not actually a jab, but they'll put it in, and then within 20 minutes it'll start to obviously alleviate your symptoms and hopefully start fighting the virus. To me, that's a far better way of dealing with a virus than pumping somebody with a vaccine every year on year. Because I mean, that's why everybody gets pumped every year for the flu or influenza.
The flu,
is because the strand keeps on changing. Now, what they're hoping at distributed bio is that once they've got the gene pool sorted, I mean, again, I'm no scientist, and what I have read and watched and tried to understand with my limited knowledge is hopefully with the vaccine they'll come out, we'll be able to deal with mutations in the in influenza, where let's say COVID-20 come out.
Yeah.
COVID-20 come out, it would actually realise, oh, that's influenza, that's a form of it, my antibodies are going to take you down. Now, all he's looking for, or they're looking for, is funding, is help, is contributions. I think they've received 873,000 in donations so far, or 873 people have done the donation. It's, to me, what he's trying to spearhead is something amazing. And I find it, I mean, the Gates Foundation have actually given him a grant to help him along the way, which is really cool. And Distribute Bio are like 2 years ahead of everybody else in this technology and what they're trying to do. And hence why I'm trying to, point the British government to say, hey, help this team of, scientists out in what they're doing. And hopefully, we can be first on the doorstep to receive probably a discounted price because we put into the fund. That's what I'm going
I think what I know is that everything the British government is doing at the moment is science-led. This isn't the politicians sitting around a table and thinking, what should we do next? It is absolutely led by the Chief Medical Officer and the Chief Scientific Advisor and their respective deputies who we see every day on the press conferences from Downing Street. I will certainly ask the question again about distributed bio, but the confidence that I have, and I know the government has, in those medics and scientists that are advising the government is that if it is credible, I'm certain that they will look at it.
Yeah. Is it credible? Interesting word. What they're doing is incredible.
Everything you've said, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Everything you have said, sounds, it is music to my ears. It sounds wonderful. It sounds marvellous. It's got to go through that level of scientific and medical rigour, which I'm sure they have. I'm not disputing that they don't have it. By the scientists and the medics that are advising the government to determine whether it's the right way to go for the United Kingdom.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it'd be interesting if you could find out whether the medics, our experts, recommend vaccine or, for instance, this other way of doing things where, it works in 20 minutes. I mean, to me, I think that's financially better for the country to have a stock of, for instance, vaccine that literally only when people become ill do they need to use it. Yeah. Rather than trying to millions of people.
I get that point entirely. But it equally would not be consistent for the way that the government has approached this crisis thus far for them not to take our own Chief Medical Officer's advice on this. Yeah. And so I think that the decision does have to rest with the advice Chris Whitty gives and the Chief Scientific Advisor gives to the Prime Minister, to the First Secretary of State and the Health Secretary.
It'll be interesting to know if Chris Whitty actually knows of distributed bio, and also if he was educated into, if he didn't know about them, who they were, and then maybe, for me, a bit of like a sideline. Can we give them 4 million? If that's enough, just say, look, okay, you can carry on with your studies. We'll use you as a backup. There you go. And because the vaccine, we're looking at least 8 weeks before they can distribute it to the public, because obviously, I mean, that's when the first person who gets inoculated before their resistance is up. I would say 8 weeks. I might be wrong, Chief Medical Officer or whatever.
I don't know.
No, but I presume 6 to 8 weeks. So really, letting them, giving them a chunk of change compared to how much 25 million that's been given away or whatever billion, just to say, look, okay, we're going to help you do what you're doing, because we believe in it, and while we still carry on with our vaccine. I just think it's a great way. And then obviously if they come through with it and it works out well, then actually the side, whoever says anything to Boris, or sorry, Prime Minister, they can actually say, well, actually we've got two options. Choose one. Maybe. Okay.